think I could summarize the entire trip of us going to Europe as being a tour catastrophe. Like, it was booked by an agency that wasn't exactly the most legitimate, so like a lot of the times we didn't know what the hell we were getting. We went into it thinking we had all this gear rented. Turns out we're sharing with the bands on the package. We thought we had vehicles sorted out. Turns out they're cramming 3 bands into 2 vans, or 2 sprinters or whatever. So what we end up working with is like us plus 2 or 3 extra people every time, and like front row, middle row, back row, and then a bunk for only 1 or 2 people. And then the bottom of the floor isn't carpet. It's literally hard fucking like, I don't know what they call it, but you see it inside like a gymnasium, like that sort of shit. It's like literally just floor. So some people, to make it work, literally just had to sleep in between these seats on the floor, and you just switch out every night. And then and the seats were like not even, so you wake up with back problems. If you're sharing shit with more people, and then you literally have to sleep on sitting up. And then the rest of Europe, I'd say we did maybe 25, 26, 27 shows, and I'd say maybe 10 of them were really good shows. The rest were could have been better. But at the same time, it was just like, currency is changing every time you go from UK to mainlands, and then we would be getting like maybe $5 buyouts, which is, you know, in the US you could go to McDonald's, but there it's like, it's probably gonna be like £7 for like a meal at Burger King, and that translates to like $10, $11 for us. The bathrooms were fucking, you have to pay to use the bathroom, you have to pay for every condiment packet you get. And I mean, Europe was fucking awesome, but the whole time we were just like, the accommodations, sometimes we'd be staying at these people's houses, and after a show didn't do so good, and we're like, we know this person doesn't want us staying at their house, but they're just being nice. I don't even know if they're being nice, they're just contractually upholding their end of the deal, and they're just like, it just gets awkward. And then, I don't know, we went to a lot of places, and then it was just kind of like, we found ourselves like, why are we so miserable in Europe? You know what I mean? We're like 19, we're fucking across the country, well, across the ocean, and like we should be having the time of our lives. We're like, my God, we all want to kill ourselves. We're just like feeling terrible. And we all got deathly sick, infected each other with it. It just went downhill, probably got sick twice in the same tour, and then by the end of it, we were just like, oh my God, I want to go home. And then it was so sad because the whole time we should have just been appreciating the shit, but we're just at the venues all day just doing nothing, soaking up whatever Wi-Fi we can get and barely keeping in contact with people from home. And then by the end of it, we were just, our diet was fucked, we hated each other, hated ourselves, we just like felt like shit. And then when we finally went home, it was like, man, like you can talk as much shit on it as you want, like for the culture and all, for apathy, whatever, who knows about America. But when it comes down to it, if you can find a Guitar Center anywhere on your maps, if you can go to Taco Bell, which isn't even in Europe, if you can get all the sauce packets you want, you can use the bathroom for free. It makes you appreciate America, honestly. But yeah, we definitely had a weird first time in Europe. I know not a lot of bands have that terrible first time, because we want to go back on like a second like tour where we aren't headlining. But if you're headlining, it's a very big risk out there for sure. And the worst part was we figured out that agency didn't even tell us, they made the bands that were the supporting acts or whatever, like they were great people and all, and we're like, oh man, we feel kind of bad, like the shows aren't doing so good, but at least you guys are like enjoying it, having a good time. We figured out those people had, like, we thought the agency covered our flights, but turns out those bands had to buy onto the tour by paying for our flights, and we had no idea. We wouldn't have okayed that. So the whole time we were just here just being like, oh, I hate my life, and then these guys are hearing us do that while they put that much fucking effort into just getting on the tour. So we're like, oh my God, this makes us look so bad. And it was just, all in all, just such a mess. We went to Venice eventually. That was our one day off. 1 million people. We were still miserable even when we went to like the one tourist thing we were supposed to go do. There's so many people. It was just, I don't know, man. Europe could have been so much better, but I was just grateful. It's so much better in retrospect, you know? I look back on it, I'm like, thank God. If I were there in the moment, I was not enjoying myself, but now it's great to look back on. And I guess that's all I can really say about it.
Tales of Toy.